All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move Podcast. This is episode 7 of 7. This is it until we see you. What is that show? I couldn't even get through the show. Eric, we'll talk about this in a second. The tiger thing. What was the kind of weird lady? Kitty friends and cat. What does she used to say? Anyways, what I was trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see y'all again August 29th, fingers crossed. All indications are that we're going to have a Tour de France. That'd be great. All us fans want it. But as you all know, this entire 7-part series was brought to you in conjunction with our friends at PowerDot. PowerDot, a company that, gosh, Eric, correct me where I'm wrong here, but Mitch Hall, our mutual friend Mitch Hall, brought down to me, and you came with him years ago, probably 3 years ago, and laid out the platform, the idea. We looked at the product, the tech, and as a lifelong athlete that's been around eSTEM and TENS, I'm going to show everybody how old, everybody knows how old I am, but I don't know, 35 years. And and I see this and I said, holy hell, this is a game changer. And so that was the birth of our relationship and the love of my love of the product. And of course, which eventually led to our investment in the brand through Next Ventures. And so this has been, I think, and I'd love to hear your answer on this, but I'm just going to say this has been a complete fucking smash hit, right? You told me before we went on here, over 500,000 people in the Strava challenge.
Yep.
158. Now I want y'all to hear this, okay? 158 million miles ridden.
Yep.
Incredible activation, integration. I think it even surprised Strava.
It absolutely did. I actually got a call from them. They were shocked by the numbers.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just I'm going to give you all the credit.
Yeah. Hey, no. This is a team effort. I think there's two things. Obviously, you're able to put a good marketing mix out there. Obviously, your name in the sport is as high as you can get. And I think it's just putting all the pieces together and working in collaboration with you guys to do something special during a time when really people needed something to do. I think we gave them a purpose, and then we spread that message out. This was going to happen regardless of whether or not this pandemic was happening. But, I do feel like there's been a bit of a tailwind just because people want to get out and do something. So, the one thing I didn't tell you, what's funny is this whole challenge and your name got brought up on Marketing Matters on Business Sirius Satellite Radio on their business channel for the Wharton School. So now you got your own PhD in marketing. It's one of the most prominent business channels in the world, and a lot of people listen. And this challenge, your name got brought up as part of the marketing mix. So pretty proud of the success. The 500,000 people, 158 million miles ridden. I know that Chase spoke to you the other day. Arvind Lohan from Canada, a 63-year-old grandfather of 11, is going to break a world record potentially for most miles ridden in a month, and he's 63. So a lot of amazing things have happened. I think it's a testament to people wanting to get out and do something. It's a testament to people hearing you talk about challenging them and pushing their limits. And if you just look at the leaderboard, I mean, the numbers that people are putting up, albeit we know some of them are done in vehicles or cars, but for the most part, there's a lot of folks putting up some big miles. And I think it's because a testament to the sport, testament to you, and just testament to the challenge overall, the marketing activation that took place.
Yeah. And I will say, I think Strava does a good job policing that, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, this fella, by the way, if I had 11 grandkids too, I'd be trying to set a world record out riding around the world too. But I got 5 kids, so it's safe to say at some point I might have 10 to 15 grandkids.
Yeah.
That's the thing I do say, and the loyal listener is I really, really appreciate their support. We take ads on the show, we take partnerships, we do partnerships, but it's only going to be with people that are authentic. And the thing I love about PowerDot is, I'm 40, almost 49 years old. I love to ride my bike. I love to be outdoors. I love to push myself, but I'm 49. I get messed up. I get jacked up. I get sore. I mean, look at this. I completely yard sailed the other day on the mountain bike. I still do stuff like that. And so, the thing that I will say we have tried to do, and probably none more so than with this partnership, is we keep it real. Like we're not, there's no underwear ads on here. Okay. There's no legal ads. There's no nothing. It's real. And so, but this one above all is the one that really sticks out for me the most. And so and going back 3 years, I was like, all right, this is going to work. And 3 years later, it's still, and again, I guess if I was some couch potato that ate bonbons and Lay's potato chips, it wouldn't work for me. But that's not our audience. Our audience is out doing the same stuff, hopefully not crashing, but they care about this, and they care about health and wellness and fitness and nutrition and pushing themselves and recovering and community. I think that's the beautiful thing about a Strava challenge is you're not, let's admit it. If there was like 10 of us, we'd be like, or where the fuck is everybody? Yeah. This is 500,000 people. And by the way, I don't know if you mentioned, that is a record for Strava.
Yeah, for a new brand, it's an absolute record. And so we've actually gotten approached by a bunch of folks. How did you do it? The fact that we were able to put out a cash prize and do that, that's the first time that a cash prize has been put out. So we're excited about that. We're going to do it again, and we'll continue to grow it. Our club is growing. We've got some great partners on board, some of them which we've got the guys from Whoop, Kyoku, Stay Classy Meats, and Amp Human. So we'll continue to grow that roster and continue to do this. I mean, it's been such a great success, and we're super excited to kind of see where this goes in the future and do more of these. Because look, we think the community, we think the opportunity to challenge one another and to really do it over this type of platform, it's a really amazing thing. And from a marketing activation standpoint, we get to satisfy all our goals as a company. We're athletes by nature. Our focus is how do we reduce people's time in recovery so they can actually increase their time performing, because that's really where we feel that we're at our best. And, that's the main focus here, is to really to talk to those customers, find ways to improve their lives, and more importantly, find ways to improve their time while they're performing, because that's what we all really enjoy to do.
Well, you know what? When you just said all those things, I just thought to myself, everything you just said about recovery and performance, et cetera, those words, and I'm not saying they're bad words, but to me, they sound time consuming, expensive, out of reach. And that's the beauty here. I mean, this is so convenient. It is so cost effective. It's sort of one of these deals where you're like, well, why not? Why wouldn't I do that? That's, from day one, I was like, all right, everybody should have this in their backpack.
Yeah. And so you just captured the DNA of the company, right? So, long story, you know the backstory. I mean, I started at one of the largest non-invasive orthopedic companies running their neuromuscular stimulation division. And really the thing for us was, look, these things are clunky. They take time. I don't understand how they work. Most people don't. The people that really use them are the people that have got these, soft tissue specialists that they're fortunate enough to have. And what we saw a gap in the market. We saw people that perform that look, you say you got 5 kids, I've got 2, and I'm working 18 hours a day. I don't have time to go see, my chiropractor or my physio. So really we saw kind of a gap in the marketplace, and that's why we kind of initially came to you. And the good news is I think we've realized one of our big dreams. We're making that announcement today. Really what we've looked to do is to take the mystery out of neuromuscular stimulation. What we're focused on doing, and we're doing that now, we've just officially launched our Strava integration. So we're now working with third-party apps, starting with Strava, where we can now take that data, and you no longer have to think about your therapy. What ends up happening is we look at your therapy, we look at your performance. In this particular case with Strava, we can see how far you've gone, how fast you've gone, and then we can aggregate that into an actionable therapy that's specific to you. What that means for you, you don't have to fumble around and think about it. The device is going to tell you exactly what you need. It's going to apply it to you. It's then going to look at it based upon your next performance, and it's going to start gauging those therapies specific to you. What does that mean? We're now taking the top 1% that has access to those chiropractors and physios, and we're opening up a virtual experience for the other 99%, and we're virtualizing that. So every single person that has a muscle that wants to perform, they can now get some recommended therapy over their phone based on the activity or inactivity for the day. And we're looking to build that platform out. And so we're launching that today. It's officially launched over Strava. It's free for any people that actually have the PowerDot app. It's going to automatically upload when you refresh and re-upload the product. You're going to have a Strava integration. And we've got several more coming down the pipe, but we're super proud to announce that that's being launched on the 31st of July. So now everyone gets access to that kind of soft tissue therapist. That's virtual AI. It's going to be recommended specific to you. There's no more guesswork. It's just go do the work, and the therapy is going to spit out that's specific to you and what you're doing in your activity.
I mean, and I mean, obviously I'm sort of on the team there. So I know that's been in the works, and that is so dope that's rolling out. I mean, we've been talking about this for 18 months, a year.
Months.
This
been
has
a long road of development for sure.
And you know what? Hats off and special shout out and props to Mark Gainey, his whole team at Strava. I mean, obviously the platform is massive, gets people out and about socializing, about physical fitness, and that's cool. That is, and you just added a third word. All right, I said cost effective, portable, or whatever I said, and then that's just easy. Yeah. That anybody can do that. That makes it. I mean, I don't know. I like easy stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody likes easy stuff. No one needs one more thing to fumble with. And, there's all this data that lives out in the world. And what we want to do is we want to give that data some additional value for the end user. And so by turning that into a therapy that's specific to them, all of a sudden, I think we've completed the circle. And obviously, where we're headed with this whole thing. We're born out of kind of a medical background. This is our consumer platform, but we've got a medical platform that's launching as well. And the whole idea is if we can see the consumer, at some point in time, they're probably going to be a patient. And effectively, we can now take that data with them so they get better care in the future. They can talk to their physical therapist. And the idea is to really decentralize that and make it easy. So we're giving that access to everybody. And we're going to start allowing, more of that care to more people. As you know, we've talked about in spades, one of your other investments, which is the SteadyMD folks. Telemedicine is where it's at. Look, the whole idea of having to leave your home, go to a physician's office and go see someone. Not only are people scared of doing it right now, but I think that's going to exist for another 36 months. But really, there's times that that's necessary, but there's times that there's not. And so what we've built in the medical platform is the ability to streamline that, make it efficient, allow you to get care from home, but still be connected to your doctor. All the while, that data can be going back to the payer, payee, and making sure that there's full compliance across the board, just to create efficiency for the clinician, the patient, and the insurance company that's taking care of it. And so that's really the DNA of the company is growing into a broader medical play. But really, this is the first start where we can start taking smart recommendations over your life as a consumer, making sure we're gearing therapies that are specific to you over your phone. And God forbid you ever have to go to an orthopedic surgeon. You just talked about being 49. I'm 44. We're starting to get those aches and pains. At some point in time, we're going to have to see them. But if they can have a better snapshot before we walk in, and they understand what we do, where we've been, what our history is, they're just going to be able to serve us better, faster, and hopefully cheaper than what they've done in the past. And so that's really the vision for the company as we move forward.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's a two-pronged approach, as I tell people. I mean, and I do think as unfortunate and almost unimaginable the COVID era has been for all societies. The current, I mean, this is for you guys. I speak about our businesses all the time, and I'm like, well, in fact, PowerDot, SteadyMD, Oura Ring. I mean, they've actually leaned in to the crisis. Yeah. And then the other head of the monsters is, and again, I think we all sit back, fingers crossed, and just can't wait for the day that you don't think about traveling or going to a restaurant or going to the doctor's office or the therapist, whatever it is. Yeah. Then bam, we come with the medical product, which is, I mean, like I said, it's a two-headed monster. But I do love the fact that, and again, just lucky for, I guess, all of us, as unfortunate as it has been, people at this current time don't have to go in. They can stay at home. They can get this therapy, especially now with the new integration we just talked about. Boom. I mean, not that anybody needs an excuse, but there's just no excuse.
No excuse. Well, actually, there's not just no excuse. There's actually going to be a need for it. So as you and I talked about, the other day, 1 in 2 Americans is going to suffer from some sort of musculoskeletal issue every year. Musculoskeletal market is going to be about $980 billion. So the problem's growing. And as people become more active, the problem gets bigger because obviously there's going to be injuries, there's going to be issues. What's funny about that is we're about to lose 27,000 PTs in the United States just because they can't function, they can't work, the efficiencies don't work. And so while the problem is getting bigger, our ability to solve that problem is actually getting smaller. And so that's really where we come in, and we're trying to solve that by creating remote therapy, by providing something that does that therapy in real time. But more importantly, that's something that can connect you to your doctor, whether or not he's 3 feet away or 5,000 miles away. So everyone's talking telemedicine, which is amazing. What we're talking about is teletherapy, where a doctor can actually administer therapy from whether or not I'm in San Francisco and he's in New York. He can send me a therapy over my phone. We can do the work. The data goes back to him and goes back to the payer. We know it's been compliant. So really, it's just changing the way the paradigm works. And COVID, as you mentioned, fortunately or unfortunately it is, it's changing the way we think about things. And in the long term, I actually think it's going to be better for the healthcare system because, as you know, we've talked about this countless times. Look, the real asset for physicians and clinicians is time. They just don't have enough of it, right? And that's the asset that's not getting bigger, and they can't satisfy it. And why that is because the critical mass and the non-critical mass are coming into one bottleneck. And so if we can eliminate that and create efficiency there, we can improve the healthcare system, get more healthcare to more people, and eliminate some of the throttles that we've got with our entire system. And so the hope is that while COVID is a nasty little thing, the hope is that it makes us look at this and create efficiency so everyone can get healthcare and they have access to some sort of therapy, whether or not in person or remote.
Amen to that. Amen to all that. Hey, before I let you go, just a small bone to pick because I see you and you see me. I'm wearing the Gen 1, sort of the OG PowerDot hat. Yeah. And I've seen this hat on the social media things of the world. And the fact that we're partners and investors and all these and buddies and all this stuff. And the fact that I have to comment on the Instagram story with that stupid emoji where I'm like, hey, what? Hey, wait a minute. Hincappy. You see that? I'm looking a little yoked right there. Anyways, the fact that I have to do the little raise my hand emoji to get the hat, brother, it's not, well, I won't tell you the address. We have enough people driving by all day, every day. Can a brother get a new hat?
So the new hat, we just got them. It's the PowerDot Grand Tour. They just literally landed. They're on their way. We also got you a couple of the kits and some of the T-shirts. They're available now on the website. As a side note, if you guys do want to go to the website, the fact that I get to be the CEO of the company, I know you guys have been offering 20% off on the product. As part of this Strava announcement that we're making, we're going to offer 25% off to all your listeners. So if you go to the website, you want to get the new Strava app, you want to get the new device, all you got to do is type in the word Strava to the code. It's 25% off your entire order. That's as big as we typically go in terms of it, but we're super excited to get this out. And, if people start using the Strava code, I promise you I'll get you a hat.
Oh, come on, people. I only have 47 baseball caps. You all know I always wear hats.
Yeah.
But come on, help me out.
We'll get some hats off, and we're going to be sending packages off randomly to some of the people participating just as a thank you for being part of it. And, we've got the Strava Club. We're looking at that. I think we're 30,000 strong on that, just right out the gates. So we're going to be doing cool stuff there, getting gear to those guys, hopefully doing some more collaborations with you on this stuff. We've had this has been a hugely successful event. We're super excited about it. We're super excited about the partnership with you, Next Ventures, and Mel and the whole team. We really love you guys. You guys have been great. And we've got some big things that we're doing, and you guys have been a big piece of that. So cool. Super excited about where this is headed, and I promise you we'll get you a lid.
Hey, cool. And last thing, while you're at it, maybe send that old fart that rode like a gazillion miles, maybe send him a hat or two.
Oh, if he wins, he gets the full kit, and hopefully we're going to get him on your show.
I have a lot of questions about that, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Chase. I'm like, man, let's not call him now because he doesn't have time. He's got 250 to 270 miles a day he's got to hit to get this thing done.
I could talk. I actually could talk about that and talk to him for a long time. The most I've ever ridden my bike in one pop is like 200 miles. I just cannot.
I have to imagine he's going to want to do some talking. He's been riding by himself for over a month. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be excited to be having some interaction with some folks.
What a freak. That's a good freak.
I'm a buddy. Kind of guy. I'm super excited to talk to him and have a chat.
Yeah, I can. Canada. Eh? All right, buddy. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Coming in. Thanks for having me on, Lance. I appreciate it.
Thanks for all you do. Yep. This is the final episode number 7 of the series of 7. I'm Lance Armstrong. Over there, across the pond, Mr. Johan Bernil. Over there, down somewhere south of here, the other JB Hager. And there, all of a sudden, some fucking G.I. Joe lookalike has appeared on our show. I believe it to be George Hincappy, but George, that is solid. I have I have a starter. I have a starter kit, but do you realize I could never do that ever?
That's probably like 2 days of not shaving for George.
How many days?
I'm about 2 weeks.
Oh,
that's 2 weeks.
Yeah. When was the last time we did our show? I think it's since then.
So we should have a G.I. George t-shirt. Or maybe even we could have the doll made, like with you with your bike stuff on, looking all lean, like you like it. Huh? Anyhow, works for you. Today's episode, we're going to talk about 2004, as we've done already one episode on this, but this was such a crazy year. We're going to look at Plateau de Beille and the Pyrenees, and then we're going to look at actually one of the stages that I do remember, the time trial up Alpe d'Huez from 2004, which has, Johan can get into it, just a whole bunch of crazy stories and complications, frankly. It was not a straightforward, hey, let's just go race our bikes today. This shit was weird, like next level weird, but we'll get into that. Before we jump in, today's show brought to you by PowerDot. That's our partners in this series of 7. They have just absolutely crushed it. I talk about PowerDot every day because, George, I don't know if you saw the other day on my Instagram, I did a race and we won. I did see that. Yes. I rode my hardtail, which was a good call, but my back was completely new. We won the race. Our combined age of a team was 100. We kicked the shit out of these young kids. But my back was nuked. And I mean, I've been on the PowerDot nonstop since then. This is the only thing that's saving my low back. The Strava integration that they launched. By the way, there's the guy leading the challenge. I mean, the dude has ridden, Higgs, back me up. I mean, I think he's ridden like 200 miles a day. I mean, are you kidding me with that? Anyways, over 400,000 people in the challenge. PowerDot, total game changer. Also super generous, given for every duo purchased, if you go to PowerDot.com/themove, the buy code is the move, 20% off to all our listeners, feeding 40 meals up. Here we go. 40 meals for Feeding San Diego and Feeding America. PowerDot.com/themove. And they've just been awesome partners. Show also brought to you by Oura Ring. This is story gets better and better. I mean, we're watching the NBA roll out. I think we're all watching sport, right? We're all trying to figure out what happens with the NBA, the NHL, MLB. I mean, the news out of Major League Baseball with a bunch of players testing positive. And we're all sitting here going, and I'll get to you and Johan in a second, like, how is the Tour de France going to roll out? If they're rolling out in a bubble, people are getting sick, games are getting canceled, what's going to happen? Well, Oura is a great first step. You know, giving these players, coaches, staff members the ring to really measure vital data points on the body temp, heart rate variability, obviously sleep, really 3 key scores: readiness, activity, and sleep. It's a game changer. It's the best place to measure all, and the finger is the best place to measure all these. Go to auraring.com and get your 3 scores. I should check my sleep score. I slept like a baby last night. You guys, that's why we're late today, because my alarm, I couldn't even hear my alarm. Weird. Today's show also brought to you by Roka. I love this. Still sold out. These things are so hot, the new Matadors. Johan, you got a pair of these yet?
I had nothing. No redo, no, not the move, no Roka, nothing.
That's
why I'm wearing old
stuff.
15-year-old t-shirts.
Well, you know
what?
what?
Best backdrop though.
With the 7 stars, you know.
We will get you set up.
I know.
You're over there. Well, you should speak like this. Le move. Anyhow, Roka started by athletes, for athletes. They're just doing great work. Again, the new Matadors are flying off the shelves. Best lens I've ever worn. I love the hinge on them too. And then, of course, the readers, which are just, I still can't find that other pair. I left them at that dinner party or somewhere, and they're gone. So anyways, I won't bore you with that. But 25% off for our listeners. Go to roka.com/themove. 25% off for our listeners. roka.com/themove. All right, let's get into some action.
Well, first of all, I want to know why you guys chose these two bits of footage, particularly you, Johan, and also point out it was the last year of what was called the Blue Train.
Yeah. Well, 2004, obviously an incredible year for the team. We had a super strong team, as we already said before. But I chose Plateau de Beille because it highlighted the strength of our team once again. We had an amazing representation of, I think, 5 guys at the bottom of the last climb. We all knew that Plateau de Beille is a very hard race, a very hard climb. And so, I was basically the first time we saw the dominance of the team in the mountains. The day before, Lance was second, got away with Ivan Basso on Tourmalet. And I think, you guys went to the finish together and there was some kind of agreement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lance.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I do. I remember. Yeah, you do remember. You do remember. But anyway, we're going to see kind of the same scenario here, but a very strong team leading into the last climb.
And also, I thought it was pretty relevant too. We also had a new legit contender in Ivan Basso with a team that was arguably almost as strong or as strong as ours. So I just think all of those factors made this year particularly exciting. Yeah,
and also, the year before for this year, for 2004, we had lost Roberto Heras, who left our team and went to be the leader of Liberty Seguros. And so people were saying, they lost strength in the mountains, but, we had hired in the off season Jose Acevedo, and we will see in this particular footage here how good of a replacement he was to Heras.
He was every bit of a he was amazing. I remember previewing this stage. I do, and I don't remember much, but I remember the quote unquote training camp, the preview of the stage, and it was a long. The vert that we did that day, it was such a long day. And you'll see as we go to the clip, you'll see the profile. We did basically the whole stage, and when you're out there with just a few guys and riding without a peloton, this shit's hard. Like it's a lot harder than in the race, to be honest. But I got the Plateau de Beille and I felt so good. And you remember this, Johan? I just absolutely, they're my teammates, but I destroyed these guys. They were like, remember?
I don't remember if it was that training camp. There was one other training camp. It could be have that one. And, we had, bit by bit more riders coming to those camps. And I think after the training camp, there was 2 or 3 guys who had to cut short the training camp because they started to have knee problems. So hard the trainings were. And then, basically it was a race against the clock to get them recuperated for the start of the Tour.
There's no doubt we have ruined careers. There's all this talk about ruining people's careers. We ruined Ivan Gotti. I ruined his career. He you remember that in Tenerife?
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
It was never the same. Fact.
I was fortunate and lucky enough to miss a lot of those camps, but in the few that I went to, it was probably harder than the actual race that we ended up doing.
Yeah. George, and we'll start this footage now, but when you will see guys and gals as you watch, the George Hincapie features prominently for about half a second and then proceeds. Just answer me one question, George, because the folks will see it when they watch it. Did you hit the brakes? You came back so quickly. It's as if, it's one thing to stop pedaling, but it's almost like you hit the brakes. You were going backwards so quickly.
Before I answer your question, I will perhaps correct the half a second accusation you threw at me. I think I pulled a bit longer than that. You got to give me a little bit of credit.
Okay.
Hard run into the climb. I just happened to be on TV for half a second. But 1, I thought it looked pretty good. And 2, I went backwards because my day was over. And at that point, it's about cruising into the finish and getting ready for the next stage, as you know.
I will back that up 100%. The one thing I always, and even today when we watch the races of today, I hate it when I see a guy who's been pulling on the front and he's in, he's maybe in 20th overall and he sits up or his work is done, but he keeps trying, just keeps going hard enough to stay top 20 or top 10. By the way, who cares? So you're right, George. You're exactly right. I was trying to throw you a little shade, and I take all that back. I appreciate that you just basically set up. I mean, at that point, you could lose 30 minutes and just take it as easy as possible and get ready for the next day. I fucking hate it when these guys keep going. I think that's disloyal and that's not professional. Right, Johan?
Well, yeah, it depends. It depends. You know, if you have a clear favorite or a real leader who goes for the podium, then yes. There's other teams who, you know, are riding for, let's say, 5th, 12th, and 16th. They're riding for the team classification.
I'm talking about if you have a leader or you're in the leader's jersey.
Then it's ridiculous. Yeah.
So let's jump in here. Let's jump into Plateau de Beille. We got about a 10-minute clip here. You'll see right away. And I just last thing I'll say is I suspect the reason that Johan picked this is because after they show the profile, the very next image is Tyler Hamilton quitting the race and getting in the team van. So Johan, I need you to admit that that's why you picked this clip.
I mean, I took that moment of the clip to start with, so we could see so we could see the abandon of a real pannenkoeken.
Okay.
And props to George for not freeze framing today.
Well, that is, and Matt McGinty has started the GoFundMe for George Hincapie's internet. I believe that we're about was it a $10,000 goal? I believe we're about 8,600 shy. I don't know who the fuck has given that GoFundMe any money, but George has moved locations, and it is so much better. Where are you?
That's interesting. I'm out in the country. You know, I'm staying away from people at a little cabin in the mountains, and I do have better internet here than I do at home. So I probably should have done all the shows right here.
You probably, you took the words out of my mouth. We probably should have done all the shows there. By the way, speaking of staying away from people, look at this just real quick before we get to Plateau de Beille. And again, you guys and gals have to be watching the show instead of, look at this. How we doing? Huh?
For those just listening, it's a nice looking quality mask with the forward arrow on it.
Yep. That's for members only, right? I think that's what Higgs told us.
Nice.
Hopefully for us as well, when we're in Aspen next month, we'll need a couple of those.
We'll get you set up. All right, let's JB count us down and we'll get going on.
All right, here we go.
Plateau, but you'll see the profile. It looks like a saw blade. Oh, Johan, you just had to pick it to start here.
Yeah, they were talking about.
Remind me, what was he sick or what happened? I forgot. I actually forgot.
He had back issues.
And they said that there was still. Look, this is Haimar Zubeldia who's abandoning. He was also one of the main players the year before.
By the way, who is not a pannenkoeken, who is an absolute A+ of a guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is going? Is this Mayo?
Mayo wants to abandon, and his director is going to put him back on his bike.
Guys, let's not forget, if you're having a bad day in the Pyrenees, the road, that chip and seal road, it's melting, it's super hot. Like it's beyond suffering. So if you're having a bad day, like these guys obviously are.
Look, this is Lance having a flat.
And so I don't even remember.
Here's George.
Georgie. Big George.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll disregard the rider.
That's already more than half a second, y'all. It's already more than half a second.
Yeah. Now Chechu takes over, and then we have Acevedo and Lance. So basically, if those two guys hit the front, then it's everything you have to stay with. So they're gonna basically make a big selection.
I mean, this was. You could argue this was, here's Jan at the back suffering, which you could argue this was maybe from a team's perspective on a big climb. This was maybe our best day ever.
Probably.
Yeah. There was this at the time might've been exciting. There was nothing that anybody could have done.
Well, I think this one, and then another year where it was Heras, you and Belocchi on Tourmalet. So this is also two postal guys and one of the main rivals. And so what little background story. So you'll see that Thomas Vöckler is in the yellow jersey.
Yep.
And this was all part of a pre-race strategy, basically. By then we had to take so much responsibility of the race that there was one stage at the beginning, the first week, where we had the jersey. we said, okay, we have to let a breakaway go. We have to give away the jersey, and ideally to a French team, because we knew that French team would defend that jersey as long as they could. So, and finally in stage 4 or 5 or 6, I don't remember, then we let that break go, and Wackler caught the jersey, and finally he hung on for a long time, a lot longer than we thought,
He became a French national hero that year because of that.
That was you could argue. He should thank us. You could argue that because he did. He was sort of this. By the way, this guy has a crazy life story. He grew up down in the Caribbean. His dad would sail between the Caribbean and France to visit his family, and on one of these trips, never came back or never arrived or something. I mean, the dad lost at sea, never to be seen again. Which, yeah. I mean, just the idea of sailing.
Grew up in Guadeloupe.
And the French
perfect English.
His English is great. Yep. And he's a TV attacker, but it's a great story. But Johan, you're right. You made his career that day. Look at this. But look at this team. I mean, there is just, and Acevedo, a new addition to the team, dude, he's just a good guy, really quiet, hardworking, totally loyal. This was a good day for us.
Yeah, if you remember how highly Jose Baloki spoke about Azevedo, he was his roommate during the crash in 2003, and for him to come over to our team the next year and do this incredible job for you was pretty fun for all of us to see.
Johan, is he directing now, Katusha, or what's?
No, he was at Katusha, and he didn't go because Katusha merged with Israel Cycling Academy, and he didn't make the move. But now he's the director at Marseille. Marseille is like a pro-continental team, where Sean Yates is also the new training coach.
Well, what country? Wait a minute. What Marseille? French. That's in France.
Yeah, it's a French team, French pro-continental.
Huh.
Yeah.
I should probably pay attention to some of this stuff at some point, but because we got the tour coming up. Look at Acevedo just going.
It's crazy. I mean, just our main rival, the guy who would turn out to be the most dangerous competition, and struggling in the wheel, basically, when Acevedo is still pulling. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is, and there you have Michael Rasmussen, who's no Pannekuchen when it comes to climbing.
That's not Rasmussen. Sorry.
Like behind Jan, or is Rasmussen off the front?
That was
It was a little bald guy.
Was it the Torito? Was it the Torito, the little bull? Oh, and here we go. At this point, Ivan and I have to say we're going to just have to take this to the. Look at the crowds. Do we see the Texan on the left, the Texas flag? Do we see crowds like this anymore? This feels like like a bigger crowd.
We won't this year.
we won't see it. We won't see a crowd like this. Look at Jan. He's just keep fighting. Knowing that he's in trouble, and what a fighter.
Think about this stage though, where we're at. You guys just are disappointing. We disappointed a whole country of Spain because there's probably 80% Spanish people there. We're so close to the Spanish border, and there's no Spanish guys in the first group. I mean, Masebo's having a good day, but I think he ended up getting top 5, which is a great ride.
Yeah, he was another guy who's still racing, by the way.
Means you're a Pannekuchen. If you're still racing at 80 years old and ever seen all this thing, you are a Pannekuchen. But also hard.
Wait, didn't you just say that you raced on Saturday?
Did you put a number on?
Is LA a self-proclaimed Pannekuchen this weekend or what? Because he did a race.
You know what? I think my kids need
know, guys.
I'm getting a call over here. They want me to come make them some cereal. You guys take it from here. Y'all can kiss my ass. There was a recreational, chill mountain bike. It was mountain bike. I get it's different than road race. I wouldn't do a road race.
But you did have a number on. I saw pictures.
It was on the bike.
Doesn't matter. You were proud. Look at this. Look at the crowds. Look at the mobile homes. I mean, that's incredible in the Pyrenees.
I don't think we see that anymore. Forget this year. This year's is obviously a rare exception, but this is just, it was a peak period. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it was a great period in cycling with all the warts and all. It was just, dude, there was so much energy at the races, and you can see it here, but boy, having just been there. And by the way, at this point, I'm ready to be done. I am suffering a little bit right here. That was also a good looking kit. I got to give it to whoever designed that, right? It was good looking.
That was a great kit.
You still have that necklace you're always rocking?
I got it. Yeah, I do have it somewhere. That was given to me by Stacy Pounds, the late great Stacy Pounds.
Look, Ivan with the Livestrong band. I guess you guys had a special connection during that particular tour, right?
Yeah,
because of his mom.
His mother was sick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I actually have a funny story. I'll tell it real quick, or should I wait till after the finish?
No, go for it.
You guys.
You have
Basso,
two and a half minutes.
Basso, before that stage, came into the CSC bus and gave all of the team yellow bands. And they're like, hang on a second, aren't we racing against Lance? And they were like, they kind of protested wearing it. And Basso said, this is not about Lance, it's about cancer. So Bobby reluctantly put it on because at this point, they all wanted to win the Tour de France. He ended up breaking that wrist on that stage. He goes to the hospital, and the doctor's like, man, I don't think I can save this band. And Bobby's like, just cut it off. He's like, well, do you mind if I have it? Because they're really hard to get. So I'll figure out how to get out, but can I have it? And Bobby's like, yes, you can have it in the hospital with the broken wrist.
Let me guess. Bobby was like, they're bullies. I feel bullied.
Hey, they were trying to win the race.
Ivan, don't bully me and make me wear this.
No. Bobby was he wasn't talking trash, but he was saying that he didn't want to, make it look like we were supporting them or our team at the time.
Okay.
But let's go back.
By the way, why do
like 20 meters in this?
I know.
Sprint.
Why do I need? I don't. And I don't need to. Why did I win that stage? I didn't need the time bonus. I should have let Ivan win.
No, I think you guys, as I said, you kind of had a gentleman's deal the day before Ivan won, and this is the day later, so you won.
Okay.
Those things happen.
Yeah, when I was watching the race, I was wondering, that was a really weird sprint. He started sprinting with like 30 meters to go. Basso was towed him to the line. It was, a little bit.
I think it was a two-day gentleman's deal.
They're just putting on a show, right? You still got to put on a show.
Look at Clody. What a good guy. He looks like a hot mess, but he is such a good guy. Look, that is such a bad look. That is a bad look, but he is such a good dude.
That day, because he finally turned up second in that Tour de France, if you remember, and here's Jan fighting to the finish.
Yep. Tough dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's should we jump to Alpe d'Huez?
Yeah, well, this is actually your first win in that Tour de France, Lance. First stage win. And so now up to Alpe d'Huez time trial.
Okay. Today's show also brought to you by Hammerhead. I'm holding the Karoo 1. Look at that. How cool is that? Soon to release the Karoo 2, another company that we're just super proud to be involved in over at Next Ventures, full disclosure. I also sit on the board of Hammerhead. I tell people are like, what's the difference? I said, well, do you remember when you had a flip phone and now you have an iPhone 11 or the latest and greatest Samsung? This is the difference between your grandmama's flip phone and your iPhone 11. It is that big of a difference. All the features, the clarity of the maps, the live segments on Strava. Really proud of what the work these guys are doing. Obviously, this is a tricky time with GPS-based devices, but Hammerhead is on it. Go to hammerhead.io and get in line for the Karoo 2 because it's coming. It's as you can see, this is the one. Skosh big, to be honest. The Karoo 2 is 40% smaller, 33% lighter. It just has, I'm just telling you, just in your head, go, all right, when is the last time I had a flip phone? And now I have an iPhone 11. It is a game changer when it comes to GPS. Hammerhead.io. Also today brought to you by Ventum. Right here over my corner, this little rocket ship, you can see it there. That's the custom We Do paint job that somebody's going to win when they go register at ventumracing.com/themove. You can get that one. They've also had a bunch of questions from people asking if they can just have that bike painted up, buy one painted like that. So Dia and Ventum asked me, is that okay? I said, hell yeah, that's okay. Of course. I don't care. I love that. Go out, get the We Do Ventum out there. 30-day money-back guarantee, lifetime warranty on all frames, personal customer support, financing options available in North America, trade-in programs available. Go to ventumracing.com/themove for 20% off and sign up to win your own free frame. So let's jump. We got a lot. This was an interesting, I'll briefly touch. Alpe d'Huez was a crazy day. I'll just set the stage a little bit. This is obviously 2004. From a political standpoint, we had earlier that spring, we had gone in to Iraq, which was frankly not very popular in certainly in Western Europe. And it was just a controversial time. So you had the sort of geopolitical landscape. You had us trying to win the 6th tour. You had me not being very popular. And then you throw that into an individual time trial on the side of a mountain with 1 million people, most of which don't like you. The threats were, we always had some threats, but for whatever reason, this was a year where they deemed them totally legit, incredible. The State Department is involved, sits us down, and basically asks the question, do you really want to race? And I'm like, well, shit, this just got serious. Like, I thought we were all having fun, just pedaling our bikes around. And they're like, no, this is very serious. And for me, I was like, I actually think you asked me on, like, you sure you want to do this? And I said, fuck yeah, we're going to go do this. But you got a little more texture on other meetings.
Yeah.
And
so,
other
there were, I think there were two specific threats. One came through L'Equipe, and then another one I don't remember. But anyway, we had a meeting the night before with Jean-Marie Leblanc, who was the Tour de France director, somebody from the security police, I guess, and also with French TV. So we came to a conclusion that, Alpe d'Huez, 1 million people, last 5 kilometers are fenced. The first 7 kilometers are open, as you will see. There's no fences. So basically, there was a great level of, fear that people could just touch you or hit you, or it could always happen. But this time there were specific threats that something like that would happen. So we came up with a plan that there would be 2 motorbikes in front of you. Then it would be you. Then for the first 7 kilometers, it would be me with my car. So the moving block would be big enough to open the people. And then they would come back. And so French TV had agreed to stay behind me for the first 7 kilometers. And then whenever it was fenced, it was allowed to go straight behind you or next to you. So yeah, it was definitely a stressful evening and a stressful morning. We were basically, playing it by ear. Now, when you start, you will see that at the first corner, French TV basically cut me off, and they were, as soon as the bunch of people started, they were right behind you, and I was kind of left behind. And so I remember I was fighting for the first kilometer with the motorbike, the camera bike of French TV, to get in my place, to what we agreed upon. And so I saw my moment in a corner, and I basically cut him off and pushed him with the car on the side of the road.
Such a bully.
Yeah, well,
unbelievable.
I was respecting the deal, So, okay, I was there, and then French TV couldn't get in front of me because of all the people. And finally, they came with 5 kilometers to go.
You were, when we raced early in my career, you were once a quacker, always a quacker.
I had to be a quacker. I was not strong enough to,
You were a real quacker.
Hey, I'm dying to know, and Johan, the encyclopedia, probably knows, but you mentioned the security threats and things you guys had to be concerned about. And we've seen images of protests that have interrupted the tour from time to time. Has there ever been an attack on a rider? that you can recall?
Eddie Merckx.
Well, I mean, Eddie Merckx is very famous. You know, on Alpe d'Huez, actually, he got kicked in his stomach, and he he got kicked in the stomach, and he lost the tour because of that of that attack.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the most famous. There's probably even others, but you know, there's been a lot of threats. Never anything happened to us, but.
And there's things that have happened on Alpe d'Huez. I mean, you remember the year where Guarini hit the guy at the top. It's not an attack, but you run it. You know, it looks like hit somebody, fall down.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's. You know, people would always say to me, "Oh my God, how do you know they're not going to just, push you off your bike or punch you?" Or, I mean, the reality is they will stand on the road as long as possible, but what you cannot see is there is just a train of cars and motorcycles. So no fool is going to stand there long enough. They're going to get it. They will get out of the way because the cars are coming, right? And the cars are not going to stop. And that was
the worst thing that happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The worst thing that happened was when the selfies were created, because once that came out, you had guys standing in the middle of the road with iPads and phones trying to get that little selfie with the Peloton right behind them, and that, I think, ended up making it even more dangerous after that.
Yeah. Do you ever even hear what people are yelling and screaming, or is it like tunnel vision? Is it all kind of a blur to you on, especially a stage like that?
It's a blur. It's a blur. They may show the one shot in here of the guy running beside me that I'll never forget, the American kid who I've subsequently seen at some point in my travels, but I'll never forget that. But this is all a blur. But let's speaking of blur, let's blur it in. Let's count it down. Let's watch it. I'm getting excited.
Okay.
So here we go. I mean, right out of the gate. I mean, it's look, this is one of the cathedrals of cycling. This is a place where you just only hope. Look at this guy. I love the next shot. It just brought back a lot of great memories. Anyways, that's awesome. I forgot she was in the car, actually. But I forget everything. Here's Johan. But look at the pandemonium on Alpe d'Huez. It's just 21 switchbacks. Such a unique venue for cycling. But Johan, tell me before I ask you about the tour this year, because I do have a question. Tell me about how you got actually disqualified driving a car.
Well, you'll see. So basically, Jan is here in front of you. So you come a few minutes later. So when we hit this part, I was supposed to be, as we said, the moving vehicles are opening up the people. So I was supposed to be right behind you. So French TV cut me off. They were there, and I hit them off the road. And then finally, after the stage, I guess they went to complain to the race commissars. And when we were back at the hotel and we got the results, I got to see that I got disqualified for the next stage. So I was car number 1 all the time. Next stage was a mountain stage, and I was disqualified and relegated to the last position of the caravan, which was a problem, of course. If you have the yellow jersey and you're 21 cars back, if something happens, that's a big problem. So I remember that everybody was asking the day after, all the other directors were asking, okay, what's going on, and I told the story, and finally we made another gentleman's deal that with number 21 on my car, I would go at the beginning of the stage to the front. Some of them, one rider would call me. I would stay number 1, and nobody would pass me.
Did anybody resist that idea?
Yes.
Who?
French teams.
Name names. Right now, you have to name names.
Marc Madiot.
What a pannekuchen. Let me tell you something. That is a straight pan. Okay, but that is also not surprising. Yeah,
I think two French teams. I think, but no. Other than that, it was okay. So here you see, obviously, French TV is right behind you because that image is what they want. So we had a deal before that those were not the images they're gonna get. They will get only the images when it was fenced. Here we see Acevedo, who's gonna have an amazing split time.
So we talk about that, Johan. I'm sure you probably sent one of our riders or two to go out really fast, or just to get as many time splits for Lance as possible. Was that the
Yeah,
case
it was
there with Azevedo?
Obviously Azevedo, but also at that point, Azevedo was, he has proven already that he was so strong that he could actually also, he finished 5th in that Tour de France, by the way, after doing all the work. So that day, he obviously got a free ticket to ride his own race.
Let's not forget also this year, we have a similar time trial, which you only get every couple of years, you'll get an iconic uphill time trial in the Tour de France. So
we do
want to relive this one.
What is that? What is that one? I should know these things.
What's it called again, Johan? The really steep one, which finished on gravel last year.
Oh, La Planche de Bellefille.
Planche de Bellefille,
yeah.
So time trial like that.
Yeah.
Here's interesting. So Jan has chosen to go with the aero bars.
I was going to say, both him and Basso have chosen to go with the aero bars, which I think it's a huge mistake because it makes at that speed it makes no difference.
And an aero front wheel.
Not only that, but your position is completely different. The fact that Jan Ullrich rode most of that climb, Alpe d'Huez, one of the steepest climbs in the Tour de France, in that position is mind-boggling. Yeah. Your core is just getting worked to the maximum. And for all you tech nerds out there, they said on TV that he had 177 millimeter cranks, just big power. Sitting in that aero position is a huge. I would never be able to just ride that easy in the aero position.
Yeah, well, it shows how strong he was, because biomechanically, for that long of an effort at that slow speed, it makes no sense. But yet he finished second, 1 minute down on Lance, so it shows how strong he was. And to our luck, they made a lot of those little mistakes, and they all add up to basically, compromising your own chances.
So we were talking about the fans earlier. Another side story, going up Alpe d'Huez, as Lance said, there was 1 million spectators out there. On one of the stages, the mountain stages before, we had a bit of a bad day. Jan Ullrich got away with Jens Voigt. The team made Jens Voigt drop back, ended up helping us chase down Jan Ullrich. Jens Voigt was getting spit on and booed the whole way up the mountain by all the German fans. Think about that. It's kind of a tough day for somebody that's so well liked in the world of cycling.
Mm-hmm. It's remarkable to see how many American flags you see comparing it to 1999 that we talked about earlier this month.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. There was a bunch of vitriol on the climb, but man, the Americans came out that year. They were, the tour had picked up a following here, and they realized that this was our chance to get the 6th one. And hell yeah, they came out. That was, man, you see those flags waving, just be like, oh, this will be fun, right? This part. And then you get around the corner and the Germans, and then you get to the Dutch corner. Of course, the Dutch corner's world famous. They just take over an entire corner. We may even pass it. It's completely orange, and they're cool too, by the way.
Absolutely cool. On that day, we were given strict orders to go as easy as possible, stay within the time limit. I get to enjoy those corners because the people are partying and I'm not going full gas, and I'm able to see that sort of ambiance, which is unlike really any other sport in the world. It's pretty incredible to witness firsthand.
Mm.
Who are the worst fans where you're like, oh shit?
It was, but it's a tough one between the German fans were tough because they were there for Jan. So you stop short of calling them hooligans, but it's, there's a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, and that's, what are you going to do? And I'd hope the American fans didn't treat Jan that way, but they weren't getting it their way either. So they were pissed. And then, the French fans were just by and large, being living there and reading, the press was atrocious and probably rightfully so on a lot of levels. But, they were being bombarded by so much negative press. They were reading it, and they would just sit here and just say shit all the time. And hey, cheater, hey, just going on and on. And but it wasn't
the majority. I would say generally the fans are super respectful and
I agree
appreciate the suffering of every rider, especially on a climb like Alpe d'Huez. It's like social media these days. The 1% of make a lot of noise, but the 99% are out there.
Yeah. Hey, before we see the end of this thing, Johan, and everybody wants to know, and as do I, where are we in Europe? with regards to COVID, other events? We know the Tour of Burgos is going on. Give me your look into your crystal ball and tell me what you think about let me boil this down. What are the chances we have a Tour de France starting August 29th?
I'm less optimistic now than the last time I said 80% chances. There's, COVID has come back in certain, in Spain, in France, in Belgium. I know, for example, in Belgium, from my nephew's racing under 23 races. So they started again a few weeks ago, and now from next weekend on, they've canceled the races. They've canceled the races for under 23 riders. So that's obviously not a good thing. I think, it's again kind of feeling the situation. The Tour de France obviously is very important, and the Tour of Burgos is happening right now. Started yesterday, the first real international UCI race. I saw that things are going quite well. They're well organized. Spectators are very limited. There's a protocol at the start, at the finish, and I can only imagine that the Tour de France is going to be a lot more strict in those special rules. I know that teams have gotten certain very strict instructions. They have to do tests 6 days before, 3 days before, and then on top of that, they have to follow up all the time. The Tour de France is planning on having a mobile lab which can constantly test at any time for COVID straight away. So, I still think it's going to happen, but I'm a bit less optimistic than 2 weeks ago. If it happens, it's going to be without spectators or with very, very limited amount of spectators.
Okay, good point. So as we watch a lot of spectators in this Alpe d'Huez, you're telling me that they will just not allow spectators?
Exactly. They're going to allow a certain amount. It's very limited at the start and at the finish. Even for journalists, it's super serious, strict. There's a lot of everything's respected, and then especially on the hills, they're going to make sure that that very little people can go up, and especially they focus a lot on having the hotels secured by special people, so fans cannot come in. So basically, the teams will always remain in their bubble when they're off the bike.
But look, we've seen the Major League Baseball is attempting the bubble. The NBA is attempting the bubble. There was a poor guy in the NBA who decided he got bored with the bubble. He went out to a strip club and they put him in quarantine for 2 weeks. I mean, how was the strip club? How did that work out? I mean, because you're going to be sitting in bed for 2 weeks. I hope that was a hell of a trip and you had a hell of a time. But those are places where you can confine. Those are of course, one towns. This is the Tour, man. This is 20 days. This is a rolling circus.
It's difficult.
There is no bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the good news is that you're not really going out. Most of the hotels are in remote places. We would never go out anyway than the tour. So I think it's easier to stay in your bubble, but you're right. You're traveling around and there's a lot more people involved, but it's not like any of these riders are going out at night.
Yeah.
Pantani used to go out.
Well, yesterday I read an article about Lucho Herrera. Lucho Herrera, the silent Colombian, and he said Lucho Herrera lost the tour because he loved to dance. Apparently, he always went out to discos and to dance during the races.
I feel like we should turn on that Colombian music like we did last summer. We can do it. Bayar.
Anyway, Lance. So
wait a minute. You're telling me he would go out dance, just go to nightclubs and dance during the Tour de France?
During the Tour de France, that's what I read.
What a fucking legend!
Yeah. Listen, little story also. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but we had rumors that. I mean, I don't know if you caught Basso or if you get about to catch him. You're about to catch him. So the story goes.
Looks like dun 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 dun.
The story goes that one of the team mechanics made a mistake. Basso was warming up with a warm-up wheel on the rollers, and they forgot to change. And Basso did that climb of Alpe d'Huez with a 21 in the back.
Come.
You will actually see. I mean, you will actually see when you pass him the difference in cadence.
Well, he's been pushing a big gear the whole time, but I mean,
yeah. We should ask him if it's true or not. But that's the story we got.
That is, that's so unbelievably unacceptable. That's just
it's unacceptable. But he was really the only guy that was able to keep up with you in that Tour de France on the climb. Mm-hmm. So for you to put, what was it, 3 minutes on him on that time trial?
2 minutes.
2 minutes was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
I think that story is another testament to everything you guys have shared. It's all those little things. There's just 100 little things every single day that have to be dialed in.
No, I mean, if you remember, Lance, I mean, that was those years when they started with the 6.8 kilo limit, because before bikes were heavier and then they became really light. And we had issues because we had to go before the stage to weigh the bike. We wanted to be on 6.8. Because that bike you were riding was actually lighter, and we were at a point where, I mean, all the brands, we had to add little weights, we had little weights of 50 grams, 100 grams. So when it came to the start and the UCI weighed the bike, we could basically, we had to go back 2 times that day to get it precisely at 6.8, because the first time I think we were 6.750. We had to add a little lead with a screw that had to be fixed to the bike. And we were on the limit, with the weight, with all the preparations,
But I think to your point, JB, when I think about that and think about what you just said, we were always looking for ways to improve and forget what everybody knows. I mean, it was truly Six Sigma, where it was always like, where is the advantage on the bike, in training, in the diet? But the idea that the mechanic would not replace, I mean, that is a whole nother equation. That's going the wrong way, right? We were looking for ways. I mean, that's just a mistake. So obviously,
Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point, didn't you have Nike pre-make the skin suit, the yellow jersey skin suits for you because you didn't want to wear the Tour de France one? Was that not the case? I think in this one, you actually wore a yellow jersey skin suit that.
Let's see. Let's just right quick. Let's see if there's a look here, because this is Ivan, who I still to this day love this guy. He's such a
There is no look. The look, Lance. I'll tell you where the look was.
The look was at Reese.
It was the look happened before when you passed the CSC car.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I didn't love that guy. I'm telling you. Look at all the German stuff on the road. Just all about Jan and Claudie. And, but yeah, it was a fun little, he had to pull, of course, when you're catching the guy in front of you, his director who's behind him has to pull over. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be good. Let me just look over here for a second. Say, what's up, Barney? What's up? I'll see you in the douches. See you in the douches. That's kind of what I said. Channeled my inner Eki. But he hangs here.
Yeah, he hangs. But look, you're on your slowest, on your lightest gear, and look at the difference. I mean, obviously, you're turning your legs a lot faster. So I think there's something to that story. Well, the story,
but my favorite story,
guys.
Yeah, we can ask Ivan and maybe during this summers, or rather this. What is it? Is September still summer? Anyways, but my favorite story from this day, and I've told it quite a few times, but I'll repeat it for those who haven't heard it, is at some point there's this kid, an American kid, running beside me as fast as he can, and he's literally screaming at the top of his lungs, "You're the man! You're the man! You're the fucking man! You're the man!" And he just won't stop. And I'm like, all right, dude, we gotta have to stop here pretty soon. And I was like, how do I get him to stop? Because I'm not dropping him. He's running beside me, screaming at me that I'm the fucking man. And so I looked over at him and I said, I know. And he goes, and he stopped. Like in his tracks, he was like, it was fucking hilarious. It worked. And I appreciate it. And this is the dude that I have run into. He came up to me. He's like, I don't know but you definitely don't remember this, but I was on Alpe d'Huez and I was running beside you and I was yelling that you're the man. And I said, and I looked at you and I said, I know. He's like, you remember that? It's fucking crazy. So good.
But look here also. If you see, so one shifter, one normal shifter, and one what's it called, STI on the frame.
Yeah, and the down tube shifter.
But if you see, I mean, for me, it's hard to believe that the setup that Ivan has, the tri-bars with the elbow pads, there's no way you can make a bike 6.8 at that time with those handlebars on. And Ivan is definitely not a guy who was using it a lot. I mean, Jan was using it a lot, and he had so much power. But I think the mistake, both of them made a mistake, in my opinion.
Could we just, I mean, if for those watching, just go back like 20, we don't have to do it, but go back 20, 30 seconds, and the paint on the road, it's like, Epo Lance, fuck Lance sucks. Like, there was so much, I mean, the amount of white paint wasted on just spit on me. Don't go out there and write all this stuff down. Dude, this was, but I tell you this, riding, with all the threats and all the warnings and the conversations had before, it never entered my mind. When I got in the race, I was like, I mean, every switchback where people could elevate and potentially get a shot on, and it just never was like, look, we're out here to race our bike. This is what I love to do. It's what I think I was born to do. And, if something really weird happens, well, this is what I chose to do. It just didn't cross. I was totally focused.
Yeah.
Was that your first day back in yellow, the Alpe d'Huez TT, or had you just gotten back the day before? Because I know you went most of the tour without the yellow jersey that year. Johan, do you remember?
I think he got it back the day before. Wait a second. No. I think I don't know if there was one more Pyrenees stage after Plateau de Beille, where I think he probably, because Vuckler just hang on for Plateau de Beille with 5 seconds, and then I think he lost it in another stage.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Oh, look at that one. Rip their balls off, Lance. Now we're talking about some paint. I mean, people, get the paint out. Who said don't paint the roads? Rip their balls off, Lance. I have never seen that in my life. That just made my fucking day. I will never be the same. Whoever's watching who painted that, I love you. Rip their balls. I mean, to say to me, to tell me to rip people's balls off? How awesome is that? I've never seen that. That is the greatest thing ever. Oh, God almighty. I got too excited. What was I going to say? Yeah, look at what I was going to say was, so this was, and there's been a bunch of talk, I think, and Johan backed me up, but my time up Alpe d'Huez was just a second or two off of Pantani's time. Yeah. A lot of people would say, well, it's a time trial, so of course it was faster. You could also make, and I'm not trying to win this debate, but you could make the argument that Pantani's time was a short stage, started in Grenoble, so they came up the valley and they just hit Alpe d'Huez, and that was the race. Obviously had the peloton at the bottom, had his team setting pace. Anyways, long story short, I think we were a second or two off of
a few seconds slower. I don't remember, it was 3 or 4, and it doesn't, I mean, yeah, you were just under the record of Pantani, which, to his credit, amazing, one of the best climbers ever seen,
Yeah. I wonder if I could break an hour on Alpe d'Huez now. I know George could. George trains all day, every day, but do you think
I think you've been training more than me lately.
Do you think I could break an hour? George?
20 minutes. It'd be you'd have to go full.
An hour on Alpe d'Huez now?
Yeah,
for sure.
Hey, and I will tell you this, I have my phone somewhere, but they still have, so the other cool thing about Alpe d'Huez is for all the winners, they put the names in the corners. And with a lot of things in my history, it's just sort of been taken away or erased or whatever, but they still have the sign up. They still have it up. Here it is. Actually, my buddy sent me this. So it's the 21st switchback, and I share it with Fausto Coppi. So the 21st switchback, 1952, Fausto Coppi, 2001, Lance Armstrong. So they must have another switchback for 2004.
Yeah, there must be 2 corners, yeah.
But it's still up there. George, did you know that?
I knew that because I've seen it.
But that's obviously not the UCI or ASO, but the city of Alpe d'Huez who decides on that. So
Well, you know what? We love them for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're good people.
You know
good
what?
People.
You know what? They will help me rip their balls off. I will tell you that. Never mind. I'm gonna stop. George, dude,
Ready.
You are in trouble. You know that, right? Yeah, it's so good because I do post these pictures. I know I look less prosperous, and man, like half of the comments are like, "Ooh, George is in trouble. He's coming."
I actually thought about
George.
that briefly yesterday because you have been obviously training a lot more, lost a ton of weight, and I thought yesterday I did an easy ride with my son. I got 1 month to get ready for my battle with Lance. So,
well, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
What did you think, George, when you saw the result of the race the other day from the guy who doesn't want to race anymore?
Well, yeah, exactly. I was impressed. I mean, I know that it isn't like to ride, rear suspension, which is mind-boggling to me. So he does his own thing, but he can go fast on the mountain bike. That's for sure.
No, honestly, George, my opinion, I think you're in trouble.
Ooh.
No, I think you're in trouble. Honestly,
the Zen master has made a ruling.
The Zen, okay.
I see a lot more focus and determination than last year.
Yep.
Are we doing the same course?
I think
here's the reality, George. I don't give a shit what course it is. We could ride laps around the neighborhood.
Don't get in trouble with the city of Aspen again.
I'm that motivated. Yeah. It doesn't. Whatever. I'll let you pick the course. I don't care.
Guys, I think you should do the same thing to see the difference. No
problem. Same problem. Same problem. All right, let's wrap this.
I got a couple minutes on each downhill, so I just can't not lose a couple minutes on the uphills.
I think you'll be surprised at how my downhill skills have improved. You will be really surprised, actually. All right, boys, let's wrap it up. This has been fun, and for y'all at home listening or watching, just trying to fill this void of no tour in July. So it's been a kick in the pants to go back and reminisce about 7 of our most memorable days or set of days. And, to everybody who watched, thank you. To all the advertisers who supported, we thank you. And, fingers crossed that August 29th, that somebody's going to be rolling down the start ramp. Wait, do they have a Prologue? I should know this. They don't have a Prologue. Johan, do they have a Prologue?
I haven't looked at the map yet.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
We're crammers. We'll be ready when the time comes. We'll be ready.
We'll be ready. But
we did that course.
Your old stomping grounds. Whatever they do, you'll know it well.
Yeah,
JB, we did a course preview.
We did that, but it was it's so long ago. It's in the archives.
Yes.
One of the very big differences to other tours is that we all know Nice, and how hard it can be there. So the first 2-3 days, after such a long time without competition, it's going to be straight from the gun.
I agree with you, Johan. There is not a Prologue, I just recalled. But without racing, without the intent, racing is preparation. That is the best training, and not even taking into account just being comfortable in the peloton and just having those skills completely dialed. Dude, you're going to throw people into the Tour de France with very little racing. It's going to be terrible for them, but it's going to be, in all honesty, it's going to be great for us. This is going to be some of the most unexpected, and again, fingers crossed that they can pull it off. We do not know what's going to happen, right? And so that's as fans and as people that sit here in front of front of y'all talking about it, it's kind of cool. I got to say, hopefully, let's hope everybody stays safe and healthy. But we're going to see some fireworks, which that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think we're going to have surprises on both sides of the spectrum. Guys who are incredibly good because they've gotten really good at preparing at home. And then, some guys who really, really go bad one day and, because they have no reference to go to, compared to other seasons.
Yep. All right. Well, boys, fingers crossed, August 29th. I'm sure we'll all talk before that. And again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the support. And we'll see you, just over a month.
Okay.
See you guys in the douches.
See you in the douches. Hey, George. George. You're a pan of cooking. Hey, Johan. Hey, Johan. You're a quacker.
Yeah, I know.
You're a Quaker. Okay.
But
all right.
The Panacook of this series is Tyler Hamilton, by the way.
All right. Good. Glad you cleared that up. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
See you boys later. Bye.